Thank you so much. We really appreciate the opportunity to be here. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Hello. Really honored to have all of you here today as esteemed guests. But before we kick off actually our ICT technology panel, let's just stick to technology. How about that instead of the acronyms? I'm going to turn it to Hakeem. He's going to give us a little bit of a preview on something before we get into the actual conversation around technology. So with that, Hakeem, please.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Marhaba. How are we doing? Are we alive? All right. Excellent. So as the wonderful volunteers mentioned, I've been working in the tech sector as an investor, advisor, and executive for the last 17 years now. And along the way, I started the PCRF, the Palestine Children's Relief Fund of Florida. That was 10 years ago. And we did so through a partnership with one of my clients, the Shriners Hospital. We brought in children from overseas, we organized medical missions, we raised millions of dollars and broke records through the PCRF network to help build the first ever pediatric cancer center in Gaza. And in doing so, after what happened with the genocide in Gaza, that cancer center unfortunately was destroyed. And it was a rude awakening and another reminder for all of us that sometimes you take one step forward only to be knocked 2 steps back. And so the Damascus Gate Foundation was co-created with my partner Tariq Salhab, who's here with us today. And the intention was very clear. Focus on proactive development, areas of strategic thought leadership, but also aiding the organizations that support crisis management. We have to do it across the spectrum. And just like how you would as a financial advisor taking a diversified approach to maximize long-term growth, the Damascus Gate Foundation is looking to balance humanitarian, economic, and policy transformation at scale. And, you know, when we built the foundation last year, we told ourselves that we don't want to reinvent the wheel. We want to partner with like-minded organizations whose missions are aligned to ours. We started identifying the types of personas in the Palestinian diaspora and in the homeland. As many of you have probably experienced, we have Palestinians sometimes who just sign a check to clear their conscience, operating almost passively. They want to support, but they don't know where to turn. Then you have other Palestinians who are visionaries, who are tremendously supportive when it comes to crisis management, responsive aid, humanitarian support, food assistance, etc. But they're running on fumes, okay? And they also feel the way that I did when the cancer center was demolished. And then you have the paradigm breakers, the ones who see beyond the present struggles, who look to build capacity in an innovative way, from a proactive and developmental perspective, from a strategic perspective. They're building leadership pipelines. They're aiding advocacy workers. They're even calling while I'm speaking. You know, it's everyone's busy. And what I realized is that I'm in a room full of paradigm breakers today. I want to thank Know Thy Heritage for organizing such an amazing event, Ratib. We've known each other for a little bit of time, but in that short period of time, I've known you to be a straight shooter. You're blunt, you're direct. If you don't like something, you say it. And to me, that's refreshing. I appreciate that. And I think all of us can take a page out of Ratib's book. If we can just give a quick second to give Ratib a warm round of applause for putting this together. And in partnership with Know Thy Heritage and other organizations involved, and also individual leaders, you don't even have to be an organization. We want to work with you. We are introducing an interdisciplinary framework. And the framework is very simple. To partner with the Damascus Gate Foundation, right, we want to test before we invest. We want to take your projects and initiatives and we want to scale it down to a proof of concept that we can realistically achieve together. And based on the outcomes of those pilot programs and POCs, we want to take those findings and we want to review them with our investors and our advisors to help scale your impact. So who are these investors and advisors? These are people that are management consultants at McKinsey, DuPont, Booz Allen. These are founders of unicorns who have built multi-billion-dollar enterprises. These are Palestinians and non-Palestinians who support our cause that are achieving success at the highest levels. And so what we want to do is be the pathway to connect the change makers, the organizers, the skilled professionals to high impact projects to achieve Palestinian self-reliance. So, with that being said, I see all of us as individual olives, wonderful and beautiful in our own right, with amazing attributes, but we are scattered and we are producing in isolation. The Damascus Gate Foundation, in partnership with you, Know Thy Heritage, all the individuals and organizations in the room, we are the olive press. We are the ones that will convert these olives into beautiful oil, the cohesive force that will sustain and make that generational impact for Palestine. And so we invite you to join our workshops tomorrow for the ITC breakout in the morning. We invite you to join our breakout session for diaspora activation in the afternoon. And the intention is clear. Expand the partnership pipeline, partner with individuals and organizations who want to activate themselves in a cohesive way, in a defragmented way, in a unified way. And by doing so, we'll be able to crawl before we walk, walk before we run, and finally pass the finish line in the beautiful marathon that is Palestine. So with that said, I want to turn it back over to my fellow panelists. Thank you all for the opportunity to speak. Thank you all for your time, and I look forward to working with all of you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Hakeem. Really appreciate it. Again, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. We want to dig right into the tech side now. And by the way, I don't want to scare anybody. This is not tech. We're not going to teach you about programming and engineering and ChatGPT. By the way, don't use it, and we'll talk about that later. There's something called Thora AI, so just use that. No, seriously, it is. But we're going to talk about the state of the business of what's going on, the state of our ecosystem. And you're going to hear us talk about the concept of the Palestinian ecosystem a lot. And our brother Hakeem mentioned something very important, the unity, the cohesiveness, right? We have a lot of efforts, but how do we now put all of that effort in a singular focus, especially in light of what's going on? We would be remiss, everybody, all of us, we would be remiss if we didn't continue to address this pain that we all feel. Being up here is difficult. It might feel like it's great and all, but it's really difficult. And I know we've all had that challenge, personal challenge, emotional challenge, mental challenge where you just can't. And it becomes even more of an imperative, more of an issue when you actually are in tech, because guess what? Tech is complicit a lot of times. While there's a lot of challenges and issues and problems where tech is used in a bad way, right? We've seen how AI has been used to target our brothers and sisters in Gaza and continue this genocide and ethnic cleansing. We've also seen a shift. Just yesterday, Microsoft, multi-billion-dollar contracts with these cloud providers. Microsoft was one of the first to save face, whatever we want to call it, at least there was something, right? And that was not because they woke up and had a conscience like us Palestinians and the rest of the humanity that also gained a conscience over the past couple of years and woken up to the reality, right? It's because of the pressure that we all drove individually, collectively, and that's what we want to talk about here today. So we're going to have a conversation to explore and help you understand kind of what the reality is of the ecosystem. We're going to hear from both diaspora voices and local voices. We're in tech, so we're a little bit quirky, and we don't really sometimes follow directions, and we pivot and all that. So we're gonna jump around a little bit here. But to start out, I really I want us to paint a picture, right, with regards to the Palestinian ecosystem. What does that really mean from a tech standpoint? What does the reality on the ground look like? And maybe we'll start with you, Ala, and anybody else that wants to chime in, please do.
Hello? Yes, thank you. Thank you, Badr. And thank you, Ratib, for this great conference and for the great partnership for the past 5 years or 4 years between the KTH and Technopark. You've been a great partner, although we had some differences sometimes. And sometimes we don't follow the guidelines, as Badr said. But at the end, I mean, this is a great outcome. And I congratulate you for the success of the conference. The second thing that I would like to start is by thanking everyone for being here today, and especially my colleagues and friends from the tech sector who came from all over the states and from different countries just to be here today. I mean, imagine coming from London last night, from Gaza, Pierre from Sweden, Nader from LA, Hatim from Chicago, and many others from different states just to be with us today for this session. And if this proves something, thank you. If this does prove something, is that Andre, of course, I'm sorry if I miss anybody, but I mean, most of the people here are from friends and colleagues. And if this proves something, proves how the tech sector is really a resilient sector. And it proves also the support of the tech people to the ecosystem, as Badr said. And my friend Tariq also from North Carolina, and regardless, I don't want to miss anyone. The second thing is that I want to talk about is, before we talk about the ecosystem, is that, I mean, the tech sector specifically is one of the most resilient sectors in Palestine because you don't need actually to be physically to work on the tech and to support it. You can support it from everywhere. Since the starting of the war on October 7, we've been thinking at the Technopark and different organizations what we can do to support the Palestinian business and trade. And we said that today the priority is food, medicine, and water. But once the war ends, and we hope all to see the end of the war very soon, we look for employability. And you will have thousands of unemployed people, especially in Gaza. And West Bank is also, I mean, if we want to talk about the tech sector as we speak today, it's like all other sectors that has been hit hardly by the war. We had a lot of people working in Israel. We had a lot of people working for many organizations, international companies that they just closed their doors in 24 hours. But, and many, of course, businesses that lost a lot of business, many companies that lost a lot of businesses. So we have really a very huge number of unemployed people. So the reason we are all here today is really to think together on how we can raise or decrease the rate of unemployment in the IT sector, and how we can all together invest and help employ people in the tech sector. And also would like to thank some of my colleagues who already are doing that, like Sam Andoni, who's employing a lot of people in Bethlehem, Hatim in Palestine. We had Food Health that is employing more than 200 people from San Francisco, from LA. So those are very success stories that we need really to highlight and think together in this session and tomorrow's session on what needs to be done to increase and have many success stories like today. I will talk about the ecosystem in the next question because I wanted this to be really a discussion and not to prolong the discussion. So
yeah, thank you, Ala. I'll go to the ecosystem part. So being involved in the TechStart project for 4 years now, we've been heavily involved with the ecosystem, both in Gaza and in the West Bank. To be honest, when we started the project and I started working firsthand with the companies in Gaza, we were overwhelmed. We were impressed with the level of innovation that they've reached. I think it was outperforming the West Bank itself. Many people believe COVID, when it hit Earth, it was a divine intervention that allowed people to become innovative, but Gaza itself was already doing that years before that, because we all know the siege that they were under. And the way they overcome that was that they started working remotely from within the enclosement that they were living in. And they were doing business all over the world. Because if you really think about it, and Ala kind of mentioned it, if you want to work in IT, all you need is electricity, an internet connection, and a bright mind. And boy, do we have a lot of those minds in Gaza and in Palestine as a whole. So people also talk about the next day in Gaza. I think the first thing that's going to rise after, hopefully, inshallah, this ends soon, is IT. The minute war ends, we're going to have the simplest infrastructure we need is just a connection to the outside world, and we'll be running businesses again from Gaza. Before medical institutions are up, before education, before anything else. So that's why TechStart and other funding is coming heavy. And this is why we're all here, and this is why we're discussing this in this session, is because IT in Palestine can be the biggest boost to the entire economy in Palestine. We can rise with the country. We can make it a global name in IT because we have the quality, we have the competitive edge with our God gave us so many advantages. I mean, the location we have in the time zone serves the entire world, east and west. The quality we have is top-notch by testimony of millions who've worked with us. Pricing-wise, we're also very competitive. So, I mean, what else are we waiting for to invest there? It's a no-brainer, to be honest, and we have success story after success story to prove it. So I'm happy to delve more into that on side conversations with everyone, but this is really, in a nutshell, what the ecosystem of IT in Palestine is. It's just a flame burning the whole time. And that's why we've used the word resilient. I mean, since the war started 2 years ago, I've used that word so many times. It's just on everybody's conversations. Everybody's talking about it. We are resilient. We've proven it to the world, and I think the ICT sector and the IT technology in Palestine is the best proof.
Great. Would you like to add anything?
I want to just make sure. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes?
I want to talk about not the local side, like Hasan and Ala talked about the local high tech in Palestine. I want to talk about the diaspora, Palestinians and diaspora like myself, and thousands, if not millions of us, Palestinians and Arabs. What are we doing, really? And I think we can discuss that in more details tomorrow in the workshop. But at a very high level, I fully agree with what Hasan and Ala said, because I'm not just an Arab American or Palestinian American sitting in the US watching what's happening and paying a check or doing whatever. I actually go to Palestine every year, with the exception of the last 2 years. For the last 15 years, I've been going systematically to Palestine on my own time, effort, and money, spending time with universities, looking at ways to provide scholarships. That's something that the diaspora can do from the university side. On the investment side, we look at different VCs and angel investors so we can invest in startups. On the connections, we work with, we talk to different companies like outsourcing companies to help people like Ala, Technopark, and others to keep the ball rolling, whether creating jobs in Palestine, connecting with investors, connecting with different support system. And the last thing is something that I'm also passionate about is the coaching and mentoring. Even before the genocide in Gaza, there's been a lot of need for coaching and mentoring. And one other great example actually is this gentleman, Alan, who runs the Gaza Sky Geek, so does a great job working with all of us to help Palestinian students and entrepreneurs and all that stuff. Coaching and mentoring, ladies and gentlemen, is extremely important because whether the young high school graduate or the young university graduate, he or she has never left Palestine, let alone if they're in the refugee camp in Gaza or the West Bank, or they've never been to Jordan, let alone the Gulf or Europe, and we've been very lucky and blessed for that. So anyway, coaching and mentoring, and that's a little bit of an angle from the diaspora side, how we can see and how we can help and support the basic ecosystem in Palestine. Thank you.
And on that note, actually, I would like to ask Alan if you can just jump in. Again, we're techie, we pivot, right? You're from the ground, you're in Gaza, right? You understand what's happening there, especially in light of the past 2 years in the genocide. Would love you to just, if you can share with the audience a couple of minutes of like, what are you seeing? What's the reality like? And how do we move forward?
Okay, thanks. So, can you hear okay? Stand up, yeah.
Yeah, come this way.
So, thanks for that. So, yeah, I'm Alan El-Kadi from Gaza Sky Geeks, and we've been operating in Gaza for since 2011. What I really would do is just reiterate some of the comments you've already made. Is that working? Yeah. Is the importance of the tech sector to Palestinian economy. The last session, I think their phrase was, there can't be development under occupation, and that's true for physical goods and physical movement of people. Whereas what these gentlemen have been highlighting is that even in a place like Gaza, for under a blockade, there are were tens of thousands of individuals and dozens of tech companies generating incomes from overseas, from Gaza. And similarly in the West Bank, there's literally hundreds of tech companies who were earning incomes from outside of Palestine. So that's the potential or the advantage that the tech sector has, because you're using the internet to get around the occupation. We know that they are making very good incomes, or respectable incomes, because Gaza Sky Geeks not only trained a lot of them, but we track their incomes to see if it's working. Since October 23, things have changed drastically. I'll just talk about the IT sector rather than the humanities side. In the actual sector in Gaza, of course, there's been catastrophic, almost apocalyptic loss of life and infrastructure. In the West Bank, the economy's been decimated in the ICT sector. But what I'd also highlight is that even through that, let's call it, apocalypse in Gaza, there are still thousands of people finding ways to get online, and they're either learning or earning online. There are dozens, when we did a survey recently, over 100 co-working spaces that have been created over the last 2 years. Our 3 big co-working spaces and training centres have been lost. They've been demolished, and dozens of others have too. But other ones have been created. Sometimes they're in tents fitted out with solar panels or diesel generators. They've got internet, and people are there earning online, or at least learning online. So it's continued. And then, as one of the gentlemen just said, is if we look to the future, what's going to happen? The agriculture and manufacturing industries like this, it may take decades to rebuild. I don't know. I'm not in that world of construction and so forth. But what we do know, as you said, all a person needs in Gaza, even through this, and they're proving it today, is access to the internet and a laptop, combined with skills training. And the most important thing is why a lot of us are here, are connections to the overseas market. There's no income to really be earned inside Palestine, or very little. Everything that we're doing is about trying to build an ecosystem inside Palestine, whether it's Gaza or the West Bank, which generates income while sitting in Palestine, but from customers overseas using the internet. And we need help, all of us, from people like yourselves and from the diaspora, to connect to the markets in the States, in the UK, in the Gulf region and places like that. So really that's what we're seeking as Gaza Sky Geeks, to help build this economy again after this catastrophe, is connections to overseas. If everybody could find a way to offer, was mentioned earlier, mentorships, that's a very easy way for employees of a company to give something to Palestine, 1 hour a week, and being a mentor. Offer a Palestinian an internship. We'll cover the cost of it, or TechStart will cover the cost, or Gaza Sky Geeks will cover the cost, and you can have an intern for free working remotely. The intern gains experience. Or the best of all, hire a Palestinian working remotely or hire a Palestinian tech company.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Alan. Appreciate it. And we really appreciate you being here with us as well. Especially, I'm going to call you the only tech voice from Gaza for now. And we'd love to have more of you there. But and here's the thing, right? We talk about the now or the future, but the opportunity is now. The time is now. The time was yesterday, right? And I keep saying, if not now, when? When are we going to actually drive this forward and transform the way we operate? And yes, there's going to be other non-tech sector things that need to be developed and built. However, how have we considered the innovations in tech that are out there and the talent that we have? How do we enable them, empower them to actually drive innovation in architecture, innovation in agriculture, innovation in healthcare? There's so much potential. And just being involved in the ecosystem for several years now, mentoring many startups, I'm amazed at some of the talent that exists out there. I'm amazed at some of the technologies that they're developing that people in Silicon Valley are working on. And I'm like, really, you're working on this? This is amazing. And I'm not joking about that. It's an amazing opportunity. And the other thing is, again, from a unification and a cohesive perspective, and I want to come to you, Hakeem, with a question about this from a vision standpoint, right? We talk about Gaza, we talk about West Bank, we talk about Jerusalem, we talk about the 48. No, we're Palestine. We're unapologetic. Can't talk today. This is what happens when you wake up at 3 a.m., guys, and fly. Unapologetically Palestinian, right? And it's important in tech. It's important in tech to do that, right? Because of just the virtue of the fact that we are in this space and what's around it and what funds it. So with that, Hakeem, I want to turn it to you. Just based on your journey and your experience, how has that informed, informed your vision in building a sustainable ICT or tech, ecosystem that can drive long-term sustainability at the end of the day and long-term Palestinian nation building?
No, it's a great question. So for me, technology is how we're able to rise above and circumvent the barriers of the occupation, right? If you think about blockchain jurisdiction, digital nation building, the AI boom that we're in, all of this can be operationalized for Palestinians by Palestinians. There's immense opportunities to build platforms off of existing AI infrastructure and learning language models that are making it very, very frictionless to start up your own business. One of the things that I've recently developed is called Electo. It's a civic platform that uses artificial intelligence to simplify legislation. So as a bill gets introduced in Congress, it takes that 1,000-page bill and it summarizes it into 125 words. Then you're able to evaluate that bill against the sponsors and the authors of the bill, and then cast a vote. So we're collecting sentiment data across the country on a bill-by-bill basis. This is real-time polling, as opposed to the conventional and archaic models of polling. Then you're able to take that vote, quantify voter alignment to see exactly where you truly stand, and now you're able to make a data-driven decision on who to support, as opposed to an ideological decision or a political party preference. Maybe you're more liberal than you thought. Maybe you're more conservative than you thought. This is all being done through AI. We're also building capacity in the app too. There's a 5-hour curriculum. We use generative AI to produce a 5-hour curriculum that turns former presidents of the US into professors of the curriculum. And so you're able to learn about how to engage in politics and run for political office from Barack Obama or John F. Kennedy. And so we're gamifying politics, and we're making it really unique, fun, and interesting. And so DGF's vision is very, very clear. Bring all of the different aspects of the tech sector together under one umbrella for us to support each other. I love what Dr. Manal Fakhouri said about your ego is not your amigo. And in the tech space, there's plenty of ego. There's tons of ego. And the second we begin to accept one another, embrace one another, collaborate with one another, even if it's a little frustrating. I remember the first conversation I had with them, He said, I'm going to annoy you and you're going to annoy me. But at the end, we're going to figure out a solution.
We all had this discussion.
Right? And that's okay. There's going to be disagreements, but we can't give up on each other.
Right.
So for me, what informs my vision from a tech perspective is using digital infrastructure to rise above restrictive and oppressive conditions, right? Using the ICT Accelerator program to build high quality deal flow. The way we're going to de-risk our investments and the way that we're going to really inform our vision is by the law of large numbers, increasing the amount of opportunity for us to invest in. And again, this is not a charity. This is an investment opportunity for you to take your $10,000 contribution or your $100,000 investment and make it a 10 or 30x return on your investment. And I think of case studies like Estonia, for example. 10 unicorns over 10 years. How much political capital has that built the nation of Estonia? Armenia, 3 unicorns in the last 5 years. What has that done diplomatically for their country? Instilling that type of confidence in the investment world and international community. These are inflection points in history that can really focus on nation building for once, as opposed to us constantly being in the headlines. So,
No,
Badr,
thank you.
Can I comment
Yeah,
on
please.
the ecosystem? Thank you. Hakeem had some good points, but I'm talking from experience when I was CTO, Chief Technology Officer for Dubai Silicon Oasis, which is part of the government of Dubai. And I was still in the US, but I moved almost like 2.5, 3 years working in Dubai. This is back in 2009. And my job was to help the UAE, or specifically first Dubai and then UAE, build a high-tech ecosystem. So I could have been a theory person, talk about a lot of great professors, a lot of great books, people are smarter than me who have great theories and all that stuff. But I came in as a practitioner, meaning I managed, built startups, I built teams. I had 1,200 engineers globally when I was VPGM at Motorola. So I put my experience to help the UAE to start planting the seeds in the UAE. Luckily, my executives and His Royal Highness allowed me to really connect with other countries. So I reached out to Jordan, Palestine, Egypt, Lebanon, Saudi Arabia, etc. This was, you can even look it up, you see a presentation I did back in 2009 before people were in the Middle East, before people are starting to talk about the high-tech ecosystem. My point is that myself and maybe 20 people at the time started planting the seeds, talking about what is this high-tech ecosystem, as the whole panel talked about it, whether it's the funding aspect or attracting startups or convincing governments to help and break barriers, and that reflected on Palestine. So when I started 15 years ago going to the West Bank and Gaza before all this stuff happened, I noticed there were a lot of challenges, clearly. Number one, the elephant in the room was the occupation, and then there were other challenges that we face under the occupation, clearly. But I also noticed that the soft skills, part of it, what Dr. Fakhouri mentioned today, as Hakeem mentioned, is the communications, the soft skills, the respect, checking the ego at the door, etc. All of us need that. I need that as well. We all need that. But it takes a lot of training people back home, training people here, etc. And the third one is the aspect of commitment and due diligence, which also relates to, I can talk about all this stuff for the next hours, and this is great panel and discussions and all that. But reality is that when I co-founded TechWadi 25 years ago in Silicon Valley, myself and a Tunisian gentleman, it was after 9/11. And it was a big thing for Muslim, Arab, American. 2 of us were Muslim, Arabs. I'm Palestinian, he's Tunisian, to establish a high-tech NGO in Silicon Valley where nobody knew about Arab Americans. It was definitely an Arab American thing, non-political, non-religious. So my point is, we had to build something out of nothing, really. And I had a job at Cisco, he had a job at an investment firm. We went out of our way to do this NGO, non-paid for 5 years, on the board, helping people, etc. The last thing I want to talk about is also related to the funding. I am the first to be blamed to say, if I commit, a lot of my friends know me as an angel investor. If I commit, I will invest. If I don't commit, I don't invest. But there are many, many people smarter than me and wealthier than me. They talk about investing, they want to help Palestine and this and that. When push comes to shove, they don't write that check. And that also upsets me, because you want to either invest, put your money where your mouth is, or don't invest. So it's easy to say, oh, I want to help Palestine, I want to help our brothers and sisters on the ground and stuff. Well, if you want to help, do something, whether coach, mentor, or invest in Palestine, or explain it to your Arab and American friends, or go to church, or go to mosque, or do something. I mean, it's all related, really. So I just wanted to say, add that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. No, I mean, look, just to kind of close the loop on both of these points, I'm going to double click on 2 specific topics, and then we can take questions, because I'm not sure how much time we really have at this point. But when it comes to like the stuff that Hakeem was talking about too, right? You look at the technological innovations that are out there. This is not an opportunity for us to just learn it, because we learned it. We actually are very talented in Palestine, alhamdulillah. It's an opportunity to leapfrog. I do not want us to look like the next India. I want us to look like the better, more talented version. And nothing against India. India was an outsourced, became the outsourcer for IT. No, we don't want to just do outsourcing. We want to create innovation. We want to create value. And I know we can do that, especially with the technological innovations we have. So to double click on the talent real quickly. And then I also, Hasan, I also want to talk about the investment as well. So on the talent aspect real quickly, what has been done, what needs to be done to build the capacity, to build the pipeline, you know, and I know we all, you know, mentoring, and from a diaspora perspective, somebody on the outside that helps and mentors, we need to structure, have an easier way and approach, right? And we're going to double click on this even more tomorrow, so please join us in the session there. We're going to talk about some of the programs that exist. But just for the purposes of the conversation now, what can we do?
Thank you. Sure, Badr. Thank you, Badr. I want to start with where Ray ended, what we need to do as we speak now. I want to tell you a story. In May 2023, a group of Palestinians that works for Cisco came to Palestine through PCRF that Hakeem mentioned, to help and to volunteer. And they mostly volunteer at hospitals. And during a coincidence, I got to know them. So I invited them to Technopark to give a technical day, since they are coming from a technical background. They were 13 Palestinians from different parts of the world, from Dubai, from Europe, from the US, from Canada. And we invited all students from the different universities to come and listen to them. And we were not sure that many will show up, but we were surprised to see hundreds of students coming from different areas of West Bank, Jenin, Nablus, Hebron, just to see a Palestinian colleague working for Cisco or working for Amazon, and listen and to hear from them their stories. It was amazing. And since there, we decided to create the Palestinian Diaspora Network for Technology, to connect people together and to see how we can really use those talents. So back to your question, Badr, we created 4 programs throughout the past 2 years. The first one is a brain gain, where I can see a lot of people here who had joined, like Dr. Saeed, Dr. Ashraf, and many, that we give a session, a webinar every month from a diaspora to the students and to the employees in Palestine. It's been now the 11th webinar, and you see the engagement is growing more and more. The second program is the Tech Circle. This is very important to tell you. I mean, when we started the Diaspora Network, we had so much people involved, starting with our Canadian friends, that they created and volunteered to create something, Tech Circle. And that was through the peak of the war, the first 2 months of the war. And the idea of the Tech Circle is to create a circle of 5 new graduates, 3 from Gaza and 2 from West Bank, and a Canadian Palestinian mentor them for 6 months. And at the end of the program, the idea is to find them a job or internship. Imagine at the end of this program, they were able to secure a interview with a young lady from Gaza with Amazon. And Hakeem was one of the mentors at that time. And the third and then later the Canadian government did support. And then the program that we're running now with Hakeem. So there are a lot that you can do as diaspora. You can mentor, you can help, and you can invest. And our focus today is really how we can help you to find the best way, as said, this is not charity, to invest and employ people. What we need you to do is really employ people. We have a lot of skills, high skills. We have a lot of training programs going on different levels. You will find a lot of skills and you will find a lot of talented people, but we really need to find jobs for those people. We're not asking for donations, we're not asking for charity, we're asking for investment, and it's a win-win situation.
So, please, you want to add to that?
Yeah, so just to add.
TechStart will help.
You want to talk about the investment?
It's okay, it's okay. I know, I mean, I don't think any one of us here on the panel I don't think we're here on the panel unless we, all four of us, and five actually with Badr, firmly believe that it's not only possible to do something with the talent in Palestine, it's an inevitability. So it's only up to you who can make the decision if you want to be part of it or not. And we encourage you to do that. And not only we encourage you, but we incentivize you through the programs that Ala talked about, through our programs, through Gaza Sky Geeks, TechStart. I really invite you all tomorrow to join us for the workshop where we're going to have extended time to talk about how easy it is for you to be part of the ecosystem in Palestine, create jobs for Palestinians who are just waiting for the opportunity to knock on the door, and the way the dynamics of it works to make it a success story. So there's opportunities for talent nourishment, investment opportunities, all of that. So please join us tomorrow. It's going to be a very interactive session where we talk about success stories. We'll show you real-life examples of how it worked and why we're all here. So
We have many success stories,
Yes.
Yeah.
tomorrow that we can.
Hakeem, go ahead.
Yeah, there's one point that I want to add to that. Tomorrow, you're going to learn about a program called Pay It Forward that the Damascus Gate Foundation is hosting and organizing. It's essentially a scholarship opportunity, but it's not a typical set and forget, right? It's an ongoing project where we align the student that is receiving the scholarship to a mentor in their area of study as a mentor, right? And then once they graduate, that student gets a job opportunity. They help, the mentor is helping them with job placement. They then go into the workforce, right, remotely from Palestine, working for that mentor or with assistance from that mentor. And then essentially what happens is that person opens up their own firm or company at a certain point. Once that opportunity happens to where the scholar or the student that received the scholarship funds gets the employment opportunity, has enough experience to open up their own firm, they then provide the scholarship to the next student in line. And these are the types of sustainable measures that we want to talk about. It's teaching them how to fish, and then from there, just land and expand, essentially. And that is going to be the force multiplier that we need as Palestinians. But go ahead.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. And the ecosystem, and I talk about this just by virtue of what I do from a day-to-day, and I'm passionate about this. And we're not talking about the ecosystem in the ocean. We're talking about the tech ecosystem. But it is a force multiplier. It truly is a force multiplier when it's done right, and we have that opportunity to do so. So just the last point I want to double-click on real quickly before we take maybe a couple questions. From an investment lens, and maybe you can start, Hasan, from that, and if anybody wants to chime in real quickly. How has the sector reacted, again, from that investment lens? And how do we de-risk the investment opportunities, be it programmatic venture investments, be it angel investments, or even venture, VC, institutional investment vehicles? Just in general, would love to get your perspective on the investment side.
yeah, we have, so every day as we speak, it has been before the war, after the war, we have new entrepreneurs coming up with new ideas, new business projects every day. And to support that, of course, it's been noticed And to support that, there was a lot of support coming from outside Palestine and within Palestine through accelerators, incubators, who are hosting these entrepreneurs, supporting them to come up with marketable ideas and then grow it into a real-life product or service and take them outside. So this dynamic in the ecosystem had to be supported also by other enablers, such as projects that we're running, like TechStart and Gaza Sky Geeks, where we realized that, okay, those entrepreneurs are looking for investments. They're doing their rounds, and they're waiting for people to invest in them and believe in their services. And there's this element of risk. It's not a secret that every day in Palestine is completely unpredictable. Like, you can't wake up in the morning and say today is going to be just like yesterday. And this is a fact for people who live there. So if you're talking to an investor coming from the outside, the risk is even higher. So how do you encourage them to come through? Well, other than the success stories and the resilience that we've been showing as Palestinians, we've come up with tools that de-risk, as you said, your investment. So basically, you put $1, we put $1 co-matching. We give you incentives to hold your investments in that company for guaranteed results in the future. We have at least 2 different projects that are still running, and maybe more coming soon, or some were also happening before the Trump administration, that kept encouraging people to invest. And the de-risking was always the most important factor, so that whenever you invest in Palestine, you feel more assured that you can expect results.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Can I comment?
Yeah, please, go ahead.
I just want to comment on my own experience as an angel investor investing in some startups in Palestine. Like Hasan said, I think it's a great way to work with existing incubators, accelerators, people you know, TechStarts and others, and Technopark and other people. My own experience has been mixed, to be honest, the last 5 years, although my heart and mind is in Palestine for sure. I think some of the there's challenges and opportunities. The good thing is that there are a lot of entrepreneurs, for sure in Gaza before the war, and actually even now, there are many Gaza entrepreneurs that we're working with in Egypt and Cyprus and Turkey, the engineers, developers, etc. But the ones in the West Bank, and my personal experience has been mixed. The positive side is that they have great ideas, a lot of smart people. Everybody wants to do a lot of different things. The challenges come from, first, lack of capital. I mean, a lot of it comes from, the capital is very limited. When you want to ask for 100K or 500K or $1 million, it is there, but it's very limited and restricted. A lot of times, I think you probably alluded to it, Hasan, is the risk-averse part of our culture. A lot of people don't understand what angel investing is or what VC is, so they shy away from investing. They want to put the money to buy land, to buy a house, to do business, etc., which is fine, but that's the whole nature of venture capital. And one time, I remember in Jordan, there was a lady from Talal Abu Ghazali. She raised her hand and she said, when I was presenting at Princess Sumayya's university, and I was talking about VC, this is back in 2009, 2010. She said in Arabic, what they're trying to explain or translate, that VC is رأس المال المغامر. وطبعا أنا بحكي عربي, I speak Arabic fluently and I write it and all that. And I said, yes, it is رأس المال المغامر. What do you think, how did the US 75 years ago build Silicon Valley? رأس المال المغامر, من Kennedys and all kinds of families in the US are the ones who put the money. They expected a certain return of investment, ROI, but it wasn't really just ROI. They were also doing CSR, corporate social responsibility. So when I invest in startups in Palestine, honest to God, 70–80% of my intention is CSR, to help create jobs in Palestine, to enable our people to create jobs, to stay there, to help the ecosystem, etc. And maybe 10–20% make some money. Out of the 5 startups I invested in, 4 failed, 1 succeeded. And it was a very average return. And the last thing I want to say about the startups is that the teams themselves, the man or woman graduate from a Najah or Bir Zayt or all these great universities that have been there, talk to professors, know them, etc., and students, but they're not ready. I mean, there are a lot of great people like the people on this panel helping, coaching, and mentoring, all that, but it's still not, they're not ready. They need experience in companies. If not experience in companies, they need coaching and mentoring. So the man or woman graduate with master's or PhD from Najah or Bir Zayt. They come out the workforce. They cannot find a job in the West Bank. Mostly, my experience mostly in the West Bank. So they're very smart and they establish a company. They don't have organizational experience. They don't have managerial experience. They don't have etc. So we try, all of us on this panel and many accelerators, incubators, try to help them to how do you build a startup? Who's the right team to come with your startup? Who is your target market? The target markets are very challenging. Well, you cannot sell to Israel anymore. Jordan is limiting. Even on the oil side, as you heard from our friend Anabtawi today, the challenges with the checkpoints and all that stuff. Anyway, so I don't want to make it pessimistic. It is not pessimistic. It is great. There are great people. A lot of people are working hard. A lot of smart people, but they need help. I think that's what Hasan was saying and Hakeem was saying. They need our help, especially from the US. Thank you.
Thank you for that. And look, I would say it's not pessimism. There's so much untapped potential. We just have to put our hands together and make it happen. So let's just take maybe 1 or 2 questions and we'll wrap it up. Please, Marwan.
Assalamu alaikum. I just launched a platform. It's a marketplace, a B2B marketplace called Joomla. And this marketplace helps businesses overseas sell products in the US. And this was done with a developer from Gaza. And I've used developers over the years from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh. And there are some good ones. But the problem is when I dealt with them, there was an exaggerated set of skills when they tried to sell their service. When I worked with developers from Palestine, especially from Gaza, they're very truthful and honest about the work, and they deliver good work. So how can we as businesses find similar developers and skill sets in Palestine to hire from here to do work for us? And what kind of platform do you envision doing this?
There are a lot of platforms that is available right online. I think Pierre is creating one. We have Tab, we have Gaza Sky Geeks. Already they have a lot of talents from Gaza that you can search online.
Apricot as well.
Apricot and Manara. There are many companies and platforms that are specifically for Gaza talents and West Bank, but mostly they are helping the Gaza talents through those platforms. So I'll be happy to share with you after the session all of those tabs. By the way, sorry, we're creating an investment guide that will be ready by next week that has all the information about investing in Palestine, the ecosystem, the skills, the salaries, the legals, and at the end, some success stories, in addition to links to all of those tabs where you can look for skills and other information. So I'll send it to Ratib, and he can send it to everyone, or you can contact us at the Technopark.
Thank you. Any other questions? I think that's it. Oh, please. Please. We can give her a mic.
This is the last question.
Last question, I think.
It's okay. We'll repeat the question. What's the question?
What's the question?
The last one.
I said in the beginning, Jihan, that one of the big hits that we got after the October 7th is the termination of those people. I mean, they stopped working at Israel, period. A lot of people are seniors and looking for multinationals. They are now unemployed. So, I mean, we need to find them alternatives as not to go back to Israel, because we need to find jobs and build the economy inside Palestine to be independent rather to be dependent on the Israeli or another markets. So this is one of the major things that we need to highlight when we talk about an independent Palestinian economy in the IT sector.
And I'll add to that is we all know that the IT sector in Israel is one of the most advanced ones. No one can deny that. They've invested a lot. The government has put a lot of regulations in place and the capital in place to make sure that they succeed, and we've seen them do that. And believe it or not, I would say, I don't want to put a number on it, but a very high percentage of those IT businesses were subcontracting with Palestinians in the West Bank. And as Ala said, and we've witnessed that firsthand through TechStart, when the war started, some of them had to terminate. Not all of them did, because that's how crucial it was to their business. But some others did, and they took the political decision to cut all ties with the Palestinian subcontractors, terminated contracts, and people were unemployed. And that was a wake-up call to all our Palestinian companies, is that you cannot put all your eggs in one basket. You have to diversify, and that's one of the things that our project and other projects were created is you need to go outside this region. You need to go international. And there are a lot of tools. And again, I invite you to join us tomorrow so we can show you how that can happen. We can help all the companies invest, get stronger, get better, and then expand into markets.
And you know, the sad thing, sorry, just one thing, that they terminated the contracts and they did not pay them, especially the Gazan companies. And they could not go to courts. They said, I mean, we are in war, we're not going to pay you. Hundreds of thousands of shekels, the Gazan's company lost, and they cannot ask for it. Or they can't go to court even.
Look, let's definitely double click on Saladis tomorrow. They're telling me I have to get off stage, unless Ratib allows the question, but I think we have to get off stage. Khalas. Let's talk offline, right? Let's talk after this. But I encourage and urge everybody, we're here to cross-pollinate our ideas and our strategies. We're here to enact and activate our collective, our individual and our collective knowledge and expertise for the betterment and the empowerment of the Palestinian ecosystem. Everybody has a role. Everybody has a function that they can play and contribute, right? Do not underestimate your capabilities. Do not underestimate your potential and the potential that we can go and co-create with and in the Palestinian ecosystem. The time is now when we are all taught, you know, that if it's the time of the hour, day of judgment, and you have a plant in your seed, a seed in your hand, you plant it knowing that the day of judgment is happening. We're not at that point. We need to enable ourselves to empower ourselves, inshallah, and we will make that happen collectively. So join us tomorrow and let us know if you guys have any questions. Thank you so much to my esteemed panelists, and thank you all for having us.
Thank you, Badr.